shed fans have been on high practically the entire winter, just exchanging the heat out of the shed, trying to keep the temperature down. Sure been a lot of fluctuation, up and down and up and down and up and down, but one thing's for certain, this has stayed fairly consistent in the shed. It's only been between like 4 degrees, and it got as high as maybe 12 degrees at one day, but mostly between the 4 and 8 degrees in there, so they're not seeing that dramatic change up and down. For the rest of the month, it sounds like it's going to be, we're heading into a bit of a cooler pattern, which is just as well. Boy, I'm getting tired of this muck. I can hardly make it across the yard. Brings everything to a standstill. But things will firm up, freeze up just for a little bit, and get us to the end of the month. Be easier to keep my shed cool, and it'll help us get some work done on the farm. And then when it does warm up and get mucky again, then we're that much closer to warm weather and drying type conditions. Cleaning up the shed floor. There sure seems to be a lot of dead bees on the floor. My goodness. I don't see how there can be any bees left in these boxes. Starting to see some stress. And I'm not sure exactly what to do about it. The colonies I've shown stress earlier that I fed some Femagil into didn't do a damn of a difference. I think they're dead anyways. And I wish I didn't see this. I found my first starve out. What a shame. You can tell because they just kind of, they just hang out the front in desperation. They're just hardly out. There's some movement there. Well, they're still alive. Ah, cripes. What am I supposed to do? Maybe I'll get some syrup on them. Yeah, I'll give them that syrup. These guys aren't taking it up here. It is March. March is a bitch. That's all I can say. This winter is 1 month too long. This is a hard month to get through. Anybody can get through up to February. It's getting through March into April. You gotta be crazy to keep bees. I don't know why I do this to myself. Ugh, goddamn snow. On to my third cup of coffee this morning. My wife treated me with a little bit of Bailey's here. I'm not sure if it's because she thinks I deserve it, or she thinks I just need to take the edge off a little bit. I mean, I'm telling you, what the hell? We go through one of the most mild winters that I think I've experienced as a farmer. To the point where I'm having trouble keeping the shed temperature down, to the point where the bees, if they were outside, they would have been flying for maybe 2, maybe 3 times through the winter to get some relief. Expecting, maybe we'll get a mild March, get them out early, get them up flying. Have the old man winter just reappear and provide us this shit weather. Looks like we'll be getting them out at the soonest beginning of April, which is no different than most other years. And you just watch. That cold weather is going to linger as I watch my bees inside drift away. There's not a damn thing I can do about it. Take a look at this. There's one good thing about this cold weather. It has firmed up the ground so we can start meeting our contracts again. Spent a little bit of time yesterday trying to smooth out the ruddy mess. It looks like he did a good enough job that he can get the semi across. So we should have a good week ahead of us for cold weather to be able to move some grain. And that is good. Small victories. Just keep counting those small victories. So she's coming together. Isn't that something? It's amazing what a CNC machine can do for you. Just adds that touch of professionalism. So I'll weld this all nice up and I'll get the grinder and clean it up. And then that's pretty much, and then I gotta do my step. And then that's pretty much it. Ready for the paint job. My truck should be done with this modifications. This will be on the truck by middle of the week if I don't get distracted. My deck over here. Ready to put on. I think I'll do my wiring up first and then put that on, just so I don't have to reach underneath all the time. I can just kind of string things through, work from above. So I had the opportunity to speak to Randy Oliver yesterday. I spoke at, there's a bee conference in Wisconsin, and the guys wanted me to come down there in person, but as per my rule, I don't travel March till November. Bend the rules a little bit, but with such a mild winter, I told the guys I can't make it down. So they asked if I'd provide a presentation on Zoom, and I did. And the guy speaking before me on Zoom was Randy. So when Randy was done his presentation, he handed it over to me, and there's a bit of a, guys shuffling around in the room. And during that shuffle, we were chatting a little bit. And we were also chatting a little bit after my presentation. Randy happened to stay to take in what I had to say there, which is really cool. But what I want to say is, I'm going to fanboy a little bit here. I appreciate a lot of the work that Randy does within our industry. Like, he is probably, as far as I see it, one of the high-ranking beekeepers within North America, if not the world, just with his progressive efforts towards that applied nature of beekeeping. That contribution is measurable in so many different aspects, and that's something I appreciate. And sitting online chatting with this man, it's very intimidating. My stress level goes up, and the poor guy, I was just started to ramble and chat on and on and on and on and on and on, and then I realized, oh shit, I got to stop doing this because he's got other things to do. He's just gonna, I'm just wasting his time. But he sat there very patiently, and we had a really good conversation. And he was telling me from the presentation I gave. Well, the presentation I gave wasn't anything specific, except it was just plain old pure beekeeping. Walking through the year, explaining how I understand bee behavior and how I use that understanding of bee behavior and form it into like a management practice to be able to achieve some very specific objectives that I have as I target my management throughout the year. And I do that not to tell beekeepers how to beekeep, but just to help maybe provide my understanding of the bee and their behavior, and provide an example of how I'm using this behavior, this understanding of the behavior, and applying it to practice and procedure in my management practice. So it involves a little bit of philosophy and all this kind of, beekeeper thought as I'm walking through the year and explaining the process. And Randy, he told me, he said, listening to what I had to say, he said that I am right on cue and focused to, he was saying he sees things much the same way as I do. And you know what, there might be some differences in how we understand the behavior and such, but he sees my understanding being applied into my beekeeping practice as being right on the mark. And that confirmation, I tell you, made me smile. You know, I'm still glowing from that. So I just had to say that. Just, another very small little victory as I apply myself into this industry and provide so much energy. It's so refreshing to be able to see someone of his stature recognize that effort. At any rate, back to welding.